What we are really worried about today is the overall urban emissions and the way they are rising. And I am personally just back from COP 28, the one that the Baku COP that just happened. And one of the key focal point there was urban emissions. So it is just not about the urban emissions only in India, but even globally. This has drawn huge attention now, mainly because urban emissions today are 70% of the global emissions. And if it's such a huge share, then what is it that we need to do? And it's the same story playing out in India today. And one of the reasons why urban emissions are rising so much because it is hugely connected with lifestyle and consumption. And it is getting aggravated, one, because of the carbon footprint of our consumption patterns in cities, our mobility pattern, and the waste that we generate in our cities today. When I look at the mobility sector particularly, there are the clear factors contributing to that trend is the growing dependence on personal vehicles because of the very inadequate public transport services in our cities today. At the same time, when we are looking at the kind of demand that we are making on our land for urban construction, for housing, for the the buildings that are being built in our cities, the whole built environment, the energy intensity and the carbon intensity of that infrastructure is enormous. And the third challenge is the wasteful consumption, the enormous waste generation. Now, if we really have to look for solutions in these different sectors to reduce the overall urban emissions, in the mobility sector, we need to see a massive mobility transition and technology transition. While the dependence on personal vehicles have to reduce, we also need to design our cities to reduce distances, reduce travel requirement, and enable more walking, cycling, and access and safe access so that you can see the steady shift. On the other hand, in the building sector, we have to now work with energy efficiency measure, energy sufficiency measure, so that we can reduce the energy intensity and electricity demand so that you can reduce the urban emissions from that sector. And the final segment is the waste. Now, waste should not be considered as a waste but as a resource. And therefore, our cities now need to scale up infrastructure to be able to collect, segregate, and reuse the waste, all the waste streams that we generate, and simultaneously also remediate the legacy waste that is piling up. Solutions are not, but now we need to make their implementation scalable, effective, impactful. When we talk about green mobility, the two yardsticks that we follow to define the scope of those interventions. One, we now need to see massive transition in our technology, vehicle technology, where we now need to move out of internal combustion engines as quickly as possible in all the key segments of vehicle and meet electrification target. What we are talking about, that 30% electrification by 2030 also has to be made more ambitious, but this will have to be enabled and accelerated so that the new ecosystem that needs to be put in place to enable fast-paced electrification with all its infrastructure, demand incentives, supply incentives, all that need to be put in place. This is going to give us the solution not only for low carbon pathway, but also the dirty, poisonous, toxic air that we are breathing in our cities. And the other dimension of the green mobility is the way you and I travel. Today, because we are not designing our roads to enable walking, cycling, and usage of public transport, and because of the distorted pricing policy, we are noticing increased dependence on personal vehicles growing. Now, this will have to be reversed. And for that reversal, we have to now completely transform the mobility infrastructure in our cities. which means we need to change the way we design our roads. The roads should not be designed for the convenience of the car, but for the convenience of the people, for people to walk, cycle, and use public transport. That means we have to stop making wide roads, more flyovers, but make the roads lot more walkable, cyclable, easily crossable so that you can use public transport. But we also have to scale up integrated modern public transport system, and the public transport services should be available uniformly across all neighborhoods, but at the same time also disincentivize the polluting modes of travel. If we can bring all of these together and make them enforceable and implement that with a clear timeline by mobilizing the resources that we require for time bound implementation, we can certainly make our cities more livable and more happy and certainly a lot more healthy.